They said here we have AD, which is a vertical tower. And then they say which point B and C, they lie on the same horizontal plane as A. And then they say which we have BC, which is given as 43,5. Okay? And then we are given the angle here, this angle here. They say which this angle here is going to be equal to what? 116. Okay? And then we're also given which DB is going to be equal to 106,7 meters. Okay. Now, before you do anything, this is what we agreed on. We're going to identify the triangles that we have. Okay? Now, let's start. Madile, identify a triangle that you see here. Which triangle is that? You see a triangle which is called ABD. Is this one? DAB. This one. Okay, we're going to make this one to be a yellow color. And then we put it aside. Okay? Let's put it somewhere here. We need it. Okay, this is D here. Okay? What is this? This is A. And then what is this? B. Okay, give me the information here. What you have on this triangle here. Give me all the information that you have on this triangle. What you have? Do you know what is AD? Madeleine, you don't know what is AD. Do you know what is AB? Do you know what is DB? What is DB? It's 106,7. Okay? Do you know any angle here? Put this triangle. Which triangle do you know? It's A. Okay, you know this one here is A. Okay, it's fine. So we're done with this one again. Okay, let's go to the next triangle then. Vilankul, is there any triangle that you see here? Okay, give me the triangle that you see. Triangle D, B, C. Okay, is this one here? Okay, we have DBC. Let's take it out. So it looks something like this. Okay, this is DBC. This is D. I'll call you to come and draw this thing. And then you will cry. Okay. Much better, Manja. Who's laughing now? Okay, it's D, it's B, and then here it's C. Okay, give me the things that you have on TPC here, Vilankul. What do you have here? Do you know what is DP? What is DP? 106,7. Stop whatever it is that you're doing. Do you know what is PC? What is PC? It's 43,5. Do you know what is DC? You don't know what is DC. Okay. Is there any angle that you know from this triangle? From DBC. Is there any triangle there? Yeah? Angle B. Okay. Give me what is going to be angle B. 116. Yeah? So this one is 116 degrees. Okay, sure. Okay, thank you, Vilankul. Okay, next. We have, who's that? I can't see you. Fresh. Is there any other triangle that you see here, Fresh? Yes. Okay, give me the triangle that you see. It's B, D, A, C. Ne? Okay, if you talk about DAC, you're talking about this one here. And then it goes there, and then it goes here. Ne? Okay, sure, let's take it out then. So we have something that looks like this. So you say here you have D, okay? And then here you have what? A. Ne? Here you have what? C. Okay, give me the information that you have here on this triangle. Do you know what is AD? Do you know what is AC? Do you know what is DC? Is there any angle that you know here? What is the angle that you know of? It's angle A. Angle A is going to be equal to what? 90 degrees. Okay, sharp. So angle A is going to be 90 degrees again. Now, first thing that they said we should calculate AD. Okay. Now let's name our triangles. We're going to name this one number 1. We're going to name this one number 2, and then we're going to name this one number 3 again. Now, on these triangles that we have here, we're going to check triangles that have AD. I get the question is guiding us to say, go and work on this triangle. Which triangle seems to have AD? Which triangle seems to have AD? Fabian, which triangle seems to have AD then? Which triangle seems to have AD? Triangle 1 has AD again. Is it the only triangle that has AD? Which other triangle has AD? Triangle 3 again. Yeah, okay, now you have triangle 1 and then you have triangle 3 again. Between the two triangles, then you compare which one seems to have more information. If you compare this one and this one, which one seems to have more information? It's triangle number 1 again. So it means we are going to use triangle number 1. So we highlight it. This is the one that we're going to be using to solve this thing here. Now, if you want to solve this thing here, okay, here's the challenge that we have. We know one side and then we know one angle again. For us to be able to solve, at least we need 2 sides and 1 angle, or we need to have 2 angles and then we need to have 1 side again. Now, we don't know what is this angle here, but we can find it based on what we've learned on our strategies. Here we are going to use our exterior angle, and then we can also use angles on a straight line again. If you look at this thing here, it's adjacent angles of a straight line again. If these are adjacent angles of a straight line, what is going to be this angle here? This is going to be equal to what? To 64. So we'll start there. We'll tell them, okay, but now if we go to number 1, it means DBA is going to be equal to 64 again. How do we know which this here is going to be 64? It's because we have angles on a what? On a straight line. Okay, let's go and update our diagrams. Which diagram should we update here now? Which one is 64? Is it number 1, number 2, number 3? It's number 1. So we can come and say, okay, this one here is 64. Okay, sharp. What are we looking for, Tina? We're looking for AD again. Now, let's come to this triangle here and then go to our mind map. Is it a right angle triangle? It is a right angle triangle. Okay, does it involve any angles? So we're going to use trig ratios again. So we're going to be using SOHCAHTOA. So if we're going to be using SOHCAHTOA, then we can come and say, okay, we have SOHCAHTOA. Okay. Now let's name the side of this triangle here. Let's name the side of this triangle here. Let's start with the hypotenuse side. Can you see which one is the hypotenuse side here? It's what? Okay, we'll call this one the hype side. Okay. Okay, after we are done identifying the hype side, we are going to name the other angles in relation to 64. John, what can you say about AB in relation to 64? Okay, this one here is adjacent to 64. And then what can you say about AD in relation to 64? It's opposite. Okay, this one here is what? It's opposite. So what are we looking for, Tim? We are looking for AD again. And then AD is up again. What do we have? Do we have the adjacent or the hypotenuse side? We have the hypotenuse side. So we are looking for this one, which is opposite, and then we have the hypotenuse side. Okay, with that being said, Masha, which trigonometric ratio seems to have opposite and hypotenuse? It's sine. So we're going to use sine. Then we're going to tell them which is the sine of 64 degrees is going to be given as the opposite. What is opposite? It's 80. All over, what is the hypotenuse side? 106,7. We want to get 80 again. If we want to get 80, if you want to get 80, Bapel, how would you get 80 here? We want to get 80 here. What are you going to do here? You're going to cross multiply. Okay, it says which 80 is going to be given by 106,7 multiplied by the sine of 64 degrees. Okay, let's do that. Then if we say 106,7 multiplied by the sine of 64, close bracket, it says which, what are we going to have? 80 is 95, it's 95,90. Okay, let's go and update our diagrams then. Let's go and update our diagrams. So which one should we update? You should update this one again. So this one here, it's 95,9. This one here, it's 95,9. This one here, it's also going to be 95, what, comma. Okay. The next question says, prove that DC is going to be given as this. We need to prove which DC is going to be given as this. Let's go and check the triangles that we have here. Which triangle seems to have DC? Which triangle seems to have DC? Matimel, Penis, which triangle seems to have DC here? Number 2 has DC. Okay? Is it the only triangle that has DC? And 3. Ne? So we have number 2 and number what? And number 3. Okay, sure. Now between number 2 and number 3, you compare, remember? Now you compare, okay, between number 2 and number 3, which triangle seems to have more information? Which one seems to have more information between number 2 and number 3? It's number 2, okay? Okay, we're going to highlight number 2. We're going to be using number 2 then. Good for us. We're going to be using number 2. Now, if we go to number 2, let's go back to our mind map. If you go back to our mind map, is it a right angle triangle? Is this thing a right angle triangle? No, it means we are going in this direction again now. For the first time, Manja, we are moving into this direction. It's a no. It's not a right angle triangle. So if it's not a right angle triangle, then what are we going to use? We can either use what they call the sine rule, or we can use what the cos rule. Now, let's go back to what we said yesterday. When do we use sine and then when do we use cos? Okay. We said we are going to use the cos rule. Look at the following. When do you use the cos rule? You are going to use the cos rule if you are given 3 sides. If you have 3 sides, if you have sides, you don't have any angles, you can use the cos rule. That's one way in which you can use the cos rule. When else are we going to use the cos rule? We are also going to use the cos rule if we are given the 2 sides and an included angle. Okay? Now, the side is between, you see that one again? The angle that we're talking about is between the 2 given sides. So, if we go to that triangle, let's take out that triangle so that everyone can see it. We have this triangle. On this triangle, what you have 2 given sides and an included angle. If you have 2 given sides and an included angle, which trig ratio should we use? The sine rule or the cos rule? We're going to go with the cos rule. Okay? Now, let's write down what does the cos rule say. Cos rule, the formula that we have for cos rule, it says which you are going to have a squared, okay? Which is going to be equal to what? To b squared, okay? Plus c squared, okay? And minus 2 bc multiplied by the what? By the cos of a. Okay. Now, let's try to take that and then put it in our diagram that we have here. How does that thing work? It's going to work this way. You're going to start with a given angle. Agree you have this angle here. Ne? Now, what do you call this angle? What is the value of this angle here? It's 116 again. Okay, but now it's P again. Now, what is going to be the side opposite to that? What do we call that? This side, agree it's opposite to P. Capital letter P. What are we going to call this side here? It's going to be small letter P again. P is going to be, this side is going to be equal to small letter P. Okay, we have this angle here. This angle, what is this angle here? Angle C again. Let's go and check which this angle is opposite what? It's opposite what? It's opposite this D is D what? DA. What is this? DP. Yeah, it's opposite DP. Then we'll call this one small letter what? Small letter C. Okay. And then we have this D here. This D is opposite what? BC. Ne? Okay, this one is opposite BC. Okay, let me make my B to be visible. So what are we going to call this side here? Small letter D. Okay. Now, according to the formula, here's what they say. They say if you have the angle, you are going to start with the side with an angle. Agree? If you have an angle, you're going to start with the side with an angle. Again. Now, which one are we going to start with here? We're going to start with P again. So we're going to say which P squared is going to be equaling to. What are the sides that we have been used? Agree, we've used P. So which sides do we still have to use? We still have to use C again. So we're going to say which this is going to be C squared. Which ones do we still have to use again? It's D. Okay, plus D all squared minus 2 again. Now let's check here. It says minus 2 and then who minus 2, which one did they use? They use P and what? And C. So it means here, what are we going to use here? We're going to use C and what? And D. So it means which here are going to have what? C and what? And D. And then here on cos, what are you going to have here? Cos what? It's going to be the cos of what? Of B. Yes, Dineo. You are lost. Okay, Dino, here's what we're saying. We're saying in a triangle, at any given triangle, let's take the following triangle there. If we take triangle PQR, this is triangle PQR again. Now, you want to use, let's say, which is values are given on PQR. They say with this one here it's 5, this one here it's 7. And then they tell you with this one here it's 8. You want to use the cos rule here. Why are you using the cos rule here? We are using the cos rule because we are given a side and a what, and an included angle. The angle is between the given sides. It's included, it's in between. It's fine. Okay? Now, you want to be able to use the cos rule. What does the cos rule say? Let's copy the cos rule as it is. The cos rule says it's a squared, okay? Which is going to be equal to what? To b squared plus c squared minus 2bc, and then the cos of what? Of a. This is the formula. You started with a, okay, here. If you have angle A, then it means which one are you going to start with what? With side A. If I have angle B, it means which I'm going to start with what? With side B. Is it clear there? Okay, but now we are not always going to use A, B, C, D now. We are not always going to use A, B, C. We said yesterday, I agree this one is capital letter P. If this one is capital letter P, we are going to name a side opposite to this angle P, and then we're going to call it small letter P. Which one is going to be there today? Here. Yeah, which one should we name as small letter P? It's QS, okay? So QS is going to be small letter P. So we say this one here is small letter P. And then this one here, it's R again. If this one is, it's an angle R, it's going to be opposite to a side. Which side is opposite that? It's PQ again. So this one we're going to call it what? Small letter. This one is going to be small letter R. Okay. This one is capital letter Q again. If this one is capital letter Q, it's opposite what? PR again. So this one is going to be called what? Small letter Q. Okay, this is what you have now. Between the three of them, you need to start with one of them. You're not going to start with all of them. You're going to start with the one with the given angle or the angle that you're looking for. It depends. Sometimes if it's possible, which you have three sides. If you have three sides, you are just going to go with the angle, whichever angle that you are going to look for. So which one am I going to start with here, based on what we just said here? Again, we have the angle P again. Since we have angle P, it means which formula EOT P squared. Okay. After P squared is going to go with the two sides that we have been used. Which side we have been used? We have been used R, we have been used what? Q. So we're going to have R squared plus Q squared. Minus 2 multiplied by this 2 here. It's R and what? And Q. And then what am I going to write here is the cos. The cos of what? Cos of capital letter P. Does it make sense now, Dina? It makes sense. Okay, if that one makes sense, then we can come and substitute here. If we use our triangle that we have here, let's go and substitute. If we go and sub here, what are we going to have? We don't know what is A squared. A squared is DC. We can call it DC. It's fine. Let's call it DC. It's fine. It's not a problem. So we're going to call it DC all squared. Again, equals to. Do we know what is B? I'm using the wrong one. Is this one on top? Do you know what is C squared? B again. B is DC. Ne? Do we know what is C squared? Let's come and check it. Do we know what is C squared? We know what is C squared. What is going to be C squared? 106,7 all squared again. Plus, do we know what is D? Yeah, we know what is D. D, it was 43. It's given as this one here. Agree, it's BD here. It's 43,1,5. So we'll come and put it with, okay, this one here, it's 43,5 all squared. Minus 2 again. Multiplied by, what is C? We already said what is C again. It's 106,1,7. Okay, what is D? What is D? It's 43,1,5. Okay, cos, we're going to put cos of what then? What is this angle here? It's going to be cos of what? Of 116 degrees. Are you still good? Okay, now we want to remove this squared here. If we want to remove, yeah, we need to put it inside the bracket. Thank you, offense. So we want to remove the squared here. How do you remove the squared here? Agree, we're going to square both sides. So you say square root and then you say square root. If you say square root both sides, it says DC is going to be given as the root. It has a plus and a minus. But since we're talking about the length here, you don't have to talk about the minus. Agree, it's a length of something here. So we're going to have 106.7 all squared plus 43.5 all squared minus 2 multiplied by 106.7 multiplied by, you remember here, we don't square here. Okay? We don't square, we multiply them exactly as they are. So we square here, we square here, we square here, here we don't square when we go to minus 2. And then this is a formula. It's not something that I came up with, it's a formula. And then it says which here you're going to have 43.5. And then here you're going to have the cos of what? Of 116. Okay. How don't you type this thing here in your calculator? Then you're going to type this thing in your calculator. You say root again. After root, you're going to say, I have 106.7 close bracket. All squared. Plus is this one again. What do I have? I have 43.5 close bracket all squared again. Is this part. What do I have after it? Minus 2 again. Multiplied by, you open brackets again here. And then you're going to say open bracket. And then it says which it's 106.7. Close the bracket. Open bracket again. You don't square. And then what do you have after that? You have 43.1,5. Close bracket again. And then after that, this is still multiplication. It's multiply, multiply, multiply. And then you're going to put what then? The cos of what? 116. And then you close the bracket. And then it tells you which one is going to be DC. What is DC? It's 131.71. Yeah. And then you're going to get 1, 2. Anyway. The next question says which we should tell them which one is going to be the size of BDC. Okay, BDC, they're talking about this one here. Okay? BDC is this angle here. Okay, if they're talking about this angle here, we are going to come to say which triangle seems to have that BDC. Is it triangle number 1, triangle number 2, and triangle number 3? This one kind of is triangle 1. This is 2. Ne? Which one is DBC? Yeah, it's BDC. BDC. Which triangle seems to have BDC here? It's triangle number 2. Okay, we are going to update our triangle number 2. On triangle number 2, now we have something that looks like this now. We have something that looks like this. We know what is DC. DC is 131.7 again. And then this one here, it's D. This one here, it's B. And then this one here, it's what? It's C. What is this angle here? 116 again. Okay, 116. Sure. Okay. Now, what else do we know? We know this one. They told us with this one, it's 106 again. 106.7. And then what is this one here? This one here, it's 43.1,5. And then what are we looking for? We're looking for this angle here. Ne? If we're looking for this angle here, we have two options. Madeleine, we can use the sine rule or we can use the cos rule. Ne? Now, for the purpose of this lesson, I want to show you how to use the sine rule. So I'm going to use the sine rule, not to say which is the only one that we can use. And then tomorrow I'll show you how to calculate this thing using the cos rule. Okay, let's start with the sine rule. What does the sine rule say? The sine rule says which you are going to have the sine of A all over A, which is going to be equivalent to the sine of B all over B again, which is going to be equivalent to the sine of C all over what? All over C. Remember, these values here, it doesn't necessarily mean which we're always going to have A, we're always going to have B again. What is important is this: if I have A here, I'm going to have small letter A. If I have B, I'm going to have small letter B. Now, let's highlight these things based on what we know, which imagine, okay, this one is P again. What is going to be this side here? We already said that. What is going to be this? If this one is capital letter P, this one is going to be what to be? This one is going to be small letter P. Okay. If this one here, this one is D here, what do we expect this one to be? This one is going to be small letter D. Okay. If this one here is C, what do we expect this one to be? This one is small letter C. Sharp, ne? Now, for you to get this angle D here, you are going to use a combination. We are going to use the combination of what we have. So we are going to use this one here. This one, it says which we have sine B all over B. So I'm going to say I have, depending on what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a side, I'm going to start with the side on top. And then I go with an angle in the denominator. If I'm looking for an angle, I'm going to start with the angle on the numerator. It makes our life simple. Okay, look at this thing here. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for an angle. Okay? I'm looking for the sine of t. So what does sine of t goes with? So sine of t is going to go with this one. Do you see that? Okay? So what am I going to say to them? I'm going to say which is the sine of t all over. What should I write here? Small letter d. This is going to be equaling to. Now, I can't use this one because I don't know this angle here. I'm going to use this one because I know the side and the what and the angle. So what is that one there? I am going to say which I have what? The sine of p all over small letter what? Small letter b. Small letter b. Okay. Let's go and sub then. Do we know what is sine of t? We don't know again. So this one I'm going to write it as the sine of t. Do we know what is small letter t? What is small letter t? It's 43,5. Okay. Do we know what is the sine? What is p here? This angle. Do we know what is p? This one it's 116 again. All over. Do we know what is small letter p? What is small letter p? It's 131,7. If it's you are looking for t here, what do you propose here? What do you say to a person they should do? They should cross multiply again. Then they're going to have sine of t, which is going to be given as 43,5 multiplied by the sine of 116 all over 131,7. So if you type this in your calculator, let's go and check which one is it that you're going to have. Then you can say which you have 43,5 okay? Multiplied by the sine of 116, close bracket, all over 131,7. What do you get for it? It says which the sine of t is going to be given as 0.2968. Okay, let's make it 687, something like this. Okay, we are looking for t here. What will you do from here? If you want t, you are going to take sine to the other side. Okay? If you take sine to the other side, it says which t is going to be given as the sine arc again of 0.29687 again. Now look at how am I going to do this on my calculator. On my calculator, I'm simply going to say shift sine again, and then I say ans, and then I close the bracket. And then it says which our d is going to be given as 17, rounded off to 2 decimal places, it says 17,27. Now, what is going to be our activity then? We're going to do the following as an activity. We're going to do activity number 2. And then we're also going to do activity number 3. We're going to do activity number 2 and activity number 3.